to the Redskins. Hail victory. Braves on the warpath. Fight for ODC. What? Can you believe yet another way? We've counted the ways. It's been defense. It's been offense. It's been 5 turnovers and a comeback win. It's been shutting the best running backs down in the second half. It's been blowout victories. And now it's been a walk-off-doink winner on the road. First win by a rookie quarterback since Russell Wilson. Yes, indeed, your Commanders, ladies and gentlemen, are moving on to the divisional round now of the playoffs. Yes.
Yes. I can't believe it. I'm sitting here. I was all ready to go, jazzed up. I'm just sitting here. Unreal. I'm trying not to wake my kids up and my wife up.
Wake them up, hell.
But I mean,
get y'all ass up.
Listen, and speaking of those guys, I've tweeted this out now. The last time the Commanders won, the last time the Redskins won a playoff game, I was a freshman in high school. Now, speaking of all these folks, I'm trying not to wake up in the house. I've been married for 10 years and have 3 kids. So you're damn right.
That's a lot of
cheers
life.
To every one of you. It might end next week, but right now, this is the biggest win in who knows how long, and savor it. Take a victory sip or two. We got a guy, and that's unbelievable.
You got a team. You got a squad. Yeah. You got a squad there, man. I mean, I think one of the classiest things that you saw was a post-game interview, Bobby Wagner, sending thoughts and prayers out to the victims out there in LA and California. We want to do the exact same thing, especially even in this big moment. And I know people that are out there. I got family that's out there in LA. I got great friends and good friends that are out there. So we are definitely thinking y'all. We want y'all to be safe, stay safe, and get your way to shelter. No, don't be a hero. Right, don't be a hero because belongings can be repurchased. But yes, this was a victory. I could not sit down. I was standing up all day. Got my lucky sweatshirt on. This sucker here is undefeated. So we just gonna keep that party rolling.
Yeah,
man.
I've got a hoodie that I've been wearing since Christmas, pretty much every day, and I don't think that it'll ever get washed. As long as this keeps going.
Whatever ritual or routine you got going, team, just keep that thing rocking, right? Just because it's the playoffs, it don't go crazy. I got a cousin, speaking of California, she lives out there in Cali, one of the biggest LA Lakers fans I ever known. When I tell you she's a huge LA Laker fan, Brian, she does the same routine every time, and it may have changed things, but she would have the same dinner. She would wear the same sweatshirt. And you know how many basketball games they have. So I need y'all to have the same type of passion. But welcome into Bleav in Commanders. If you didn't know where you were, right? You didn't know where you were. You're a Bleav in Commanders. I'm Anthony Armstrong, the original 1-3. That's Brian Murphy, my homie down there in the A. Lifelong Redskins fan. I'm glad to share the podcast space with you over the past 3 years, right? Because I can tell you, when this thing first started, I was like, hey, I want to do a podcast. And then here came the Bleav Network folks, and I appreciate them for that. And then we got into it, and we were going back we started out big. We had one of the guys who played a hell of a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Historic performance, a legend in his own right. Taylor Heineke was on the show. That happened early on in this thing. Audio was horrible, but he was here. Yeah. And then now, fast forward, you go and beat that team with a slightly different quarterback. Terry McLaurin is still there, right? Crazy enough that he was there on both. So now we got to get Terry on the show. But man, you got a winner. Earlier today, Brian, I had jumped on. There was a Twitter Spaces that was going on, man, with some of the folks, and man, I just got on there and was just chopping it up for an hour, and everybody was so nervous. They were so nervous, and Brian, I said, look, man, the nerves that you felt heading into this game, this is what it feels like pregame. This is what it feels like. You're watching the other games on TV. And everybody's going to be tuned in for you. Everybody's going to be tuned in to watch the Commanders and the Buccaneers play. And those nerves, it helps you raise your game up. You know what I mean? The great ones will rise up when the moments are the brightest, when the lights are on, and when everybody and their mama is tuned in. And I tell you, the performance that you saw from this team, from the top to the bottom, I'm going to give out game balls. We've never done it before, but we're going to do it tonight. Game balls, celebratory sips, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to give first game ball, and I'm not going to go to the obvious.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's take a sip. Let's do sips.
Yes, indeed. We go first game ball. First sip is going to Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. I think he did a hell of a job. Look, that was a chess match. Todd Bowles was dialing shit up. They were when, at halftime. He was like, "Yeah, he keeps escaping to his right or left," and he was very specific about that. And you could tell whenever whenever there was that spy in the red zone and the rush all pushed out to Jaden's right, and it forced him to the left to Levante David. And he tried to outrun him, but he couldn't because he already had him outflanked by two gaps. That was a very, very well thought out scheme. And the way that Cliff was moving Terry into different positions, catching those glances off of the play action passes, he was moving people around and was getting in his bag. My next game ball is going to be for Dyami Brown. Dyami Brown. He really stepped up. I'm talking when you needed somebody to show up outside of Terry McLaurin. And all year long, I've been called. I said, man, I need a little something from Dyami Brown, a more consistent point. And I would love to see him, show up and get a little bit more impact just because of his speed and what he brings to the game. You got to find a way to get him active in between those different opportunities, man. So shout out to Dyami Brown.
Yeah, I might have tweeted it out. I did not have Dyami Brown on having a career game on my bingo card, but if you did and you took the over on his receiving yards, go cash out at our friends at Bet Online. You probably made a pretty little coin there. But yeah, those guys have been bringing you the show all season long. Bet Online, where the game begins, where the game starts.
Where the game starts. Look, I was fumbling over my words too. Look, I'm looking up his statistic. What was his stats for the night? Here you go. I'm pulling it up right here. Let's go right there. Dyami Brown, 5 for 89, 17.8 yard average, 1 tutty, long of 30, 5 targets.
Yeah,
my man.
They said it on the broadcast, and Chris Collinsworth. I know every color commentator gets a bad rap, whatever. Chris Collinsworth's one of my favorites, but he said maybe Dyami Brown is your number 2 wide receiver, which he has been the last couple of weeks. He's made game-changing plays. He's got the speed. He'll run you over. What a big game for number 2. And kudos, hat tips, sips to you, my friend.
All of that, because I think the biggest thing is it's one of those ones where you don't get pegged as a one-trick pony. And if they're already like, oh, he only runs deep, then you give him the screen, and then now he's catching the passes in between, and now he's having a catch and run and running people over. Like, that's the type of momentum that you start to build right there, man. And I love to see it, and that's exciting. I'm looking over here at my clipboard. I have this clipboard full of paper. So if y'all are looking on YouTube, do me 2 favors. Number 1, drop a like. Number 2, hit a subscribe. And number 3, hit that notification bell so you can see when we get some more episodes. But this clipboard is full of all of my kids' once used artwork and paper. Either way, it's my scratch pad. I was planning for the week, and I can't say if maybe I manifested this, but I put it out there in the universe. I said January 13th was going to be a victory Monday. And dadgummit, it's Victory Monday right now. Right. Commanders win 23-20, walk-off fashion. We're doing game balls. We just kind of went off. I said Cliff Kingsbury gets one for his performance with the offense, and then I added Dyami Brown in there. But who do you add in, Brian Murphy? Who do you got? Offense, defense, special teams. Who's your game ball recipient?
We're going with the obvious, Jaden Daniels. Yes, take a big sip for him. But how about Terry McLaurin, man? I mean, this guy, you mentioned it. This guy has been around for some really bad, and this is what his third different coach now. And now he's a bona fide star.
You came into that thing like knowing you're going to have to come up with some sort of a different wrinkle. What can you do differently? All right. What can you implement? And then actually go out there and execute. So I think that was big. But how about Jamison Crowder on that punt return? Like catching the ball. Even my father-in-law was like, I thought he should have fair caught it. I was like, well, that's why you are sitting here on the couch and he is making people miss in a phone booth, because Jamison Crowder took a caught punt inside, right around the 10, and then got that sucker out to about damn near the 30. That was a lot of field position change right there.
Yeah. And speaking of 30, Austin Eckler, man, 3-0 was a game changer. I think he's got to be your running back one. I don't know that Brian Robinson has it right now. We talked about how poor the running game has been. Let Eckler make some plays for you, and he certainly did that in big moments tonight.
Yeah, I think that the switch to him was a little late, but it was necessary. And honestly, man, I think that B Rob is kind of falling. He just is in that spot where your focus is so much on not losing the ball that you're not able to visualize and use that vision, man. Use your vision, the thing that make you so great. Now I know you want to lower the hammer on somebody, but hey, man, use that vision. You could bounce it outside and get some nice long runs. I would love to see that. Hell, let's not be remiss in not talk about Zane Gonzalez. I mean, big kick.
Hold
big
on
kick.
1 second.
Like, oh yeah, do your hair like Zane. There you go.
Well, I'm fixing it. I got
across.
Wait, hold on.
He's swooping his hair across over there because he had to fix his shoe and his sock,
his helmet, his hair. As somebody with OCD, I see a fellow OCDer when I know one when I see one. But man, that guy, every little bit mattered. A doink counts just as much as putting it right through the middle. Gonzo, this one's for you, my brother. And he's held down the kicking position. I mean, the games that he's been out there, he's been solid. I'm sure there have been misses. Every kicker misses, but kudos to the kicker. We bash on them when they're bad, but you just took your team to the divisional round, sir.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. Have some apple juice there, Brian. That's
all it is. That's all it is. That's all.
Yes, indeed, man. Passing wise, Jaden 35, 268, 7.7 on the average, 2 tutties. Hey, you know what? 1 sack on the day. 1 sack on the day. That was that one over there on Coleman, and hey, shoot, man, he held up pretty well. That first, hit, that low hit on Jaden. Let's go there. You knew what the message was.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna put some things on 5. Let's hit him. Let's see how he's gonna hold up. And once I saw that blood, I was like, oh, they didn't cut the prints. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. We don't do that.
Everybody was sharing the Thanos meme, all that for a drop of blood. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay should have run and hid when they saw that all they got was a drop of blood. But I will say, you mentioned Todd Bowles just threw everything at the guy. I mean, and he bounced off guys and made it happen. It's incredible what he's doing. We forget that he's a rookie. What is it? Black Panther suit. We're talking about Thanos, that he, like, every hit he takes kind of like makes him a little bit stronger. And that feels like Jaden Daniels right now, man. Like, every look they throw at him, you almost don't want to throw him different looks, because that's just one more thing that he's putting in his memory bank that he's like, oh, I've seen that now. Where did I see that? Oh, okay, here's a dot. And he just, I think we get so used to it, but this dude is a rookie. He just played in his 17, 18th career start, and he didn't even finish a couple of those. I mean, it's incredible what he's doing, and it's easy to gush on a guy, and it's easy not to gush on a guy. And this is a moment where you just got to tip your cap and sit back and realize you're watching somebody special.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to change the way that people scout quarterbacks, right? You look at the amount of college football that he played and the snaps that he took and the preparation that he takes before he even got to the NFL, rather than taking a guy who's 1 or 2 years at the position, but he's a physical specimen.
Right.
But now you got to teach him football. This dude's seen all of it, and he's able to go up there against some of the top DCs and the guys who've been doing it for a really long time in this league.
Well, you may realize it or may not. I think the age was part of the deal with Jaden Daniels, and it was a quote unquote knock on him. But 24 versus 23, who cares? I almost had too much apple juice. Who cares? Because he's older than CJ Stroud, which to some would be a red flag. Like, oh, why did he have to stay another year? All the things that you talked about. But you're right, and it's paying off for the Commanders, because he's got a playoff win for the first time in 20 years. I mean, you're absolutely right. He's changing the way you play the game. He has his moments that are not great, but the great outweighs the not great so many times.
Yeah, eloquently said there, Brian. The great outweighs the not great with our man Jaden Daniels. I mean, look, I remember during the season we were like, who's going to have a better year? Is it going to be Caleb? Is it going to be Jaden? And I was like, you know what? I think Jaden's just going to give you more like historic moments, like in just late drives, just a minute 47 left, and I'm going to drive you down there. We're going to get in position and we're going to win. And damn it, that's what he's done all season long. Now let's look on the defensive side. Go ahead.
Real quick. I mean, laughing in the face of Kalijah Cansey with 55 seconds left, knowing he's about to win a game. I mean, it's the second time in what? I think he did that against the Eagles as well. Laughing in a dude's face, that has got to be demoralizing. I mean, you tell me as a former player, but a dude is laughing in your face as he's driving down the field to kick you out of the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, I'd be pissed.
That's the stuff that greatness is made of. Like, that's what you hear of when you're going against like prime Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or, you know, Peyton Manning, where it's just like on the defensive side, you're trying to get in his head and he's just like, oh, okay, all right. It reminds me of this. I saw this, you know, clip going around. It was like, here is, you know, a compilation of Shohei Ohtani being the most courteous player in the league. Every time he gets up to bat, or at least the first time, he gives a little hat tip to the manager. And I commented, hey, you better wave because I'm about to send this ball to Jupiter. Yeah. That's what Jaden Daniels is. He's kind of like, oh, you can hit me all you want. I'm finna laugh if that didn't knock me out. Now I'm finna get after that ass.
I mean, he did it against Jalen Carter, who there's a great picture from when they were in college. Jalen Carter is literally holding Jaden Daniels up in the SEC championship game. And I don't know, but it seems like Jaden Daniels is going to get the last laugh when it's all said and done. This guy's just a stone cold killer. And now we're seeing it in the playoffs on the national stage.
Man, this is something, man. This is something. Quickly on the defensive side, while we roll, and before we get to, I do got to talk about that upcoming matchup because I tend to hold grudges. You know, I do hold grudges, but defensively, Bobby Wagner, 8 total tackles, half sack, quarterback hit, also recovered that fumble, which was a huge play. Him showing up in that position there. Jeremy Chin was flying around with a lot of tackles. Marshawn Lattimore, right? The matchup against Mike Evans, it wasn't to our favor, right? It was 7 for 92 and 1 touchdown. That's well over the average. But I mean, you got 2 great players going up against each other. Mm-hmm. You know, where we did say, yeah, Lattimore is what you brought him here for. You brought him in here for these matchups. And the fact that you actually can line him up there and do it, I'm fine with it. Like, hey, Mike Evans is great. Yeah. Mike Evans is great. I tweeted it out. You need to hold him. You need to try to lock him down, but some bitch is great. Like, he's good. Like, hey, you're going to have a game every now and again. And frankly, it didn't beat us. So, you know, we'll be all right from there.
I got 2 things because I want to give a cap tip nod sip to Joe Witt for the feels like the 4th, 5th game in a row. He has made some halftime on the fly adjustments that have been the difference in this game. I don't know what Mike Evans' second half numbers were, but they were not as good as it was in that first half. And it again was there was a switch, and they talked about it on the broadcast. They moved the double team over. Lattimore moved over to McMillan or the others, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Witt, you know, he is working with not the best cupboard. I will say that. They mentioned at some point during the broadcast there are 8 new starters, and you know, if you add in rotational guys, I'm sure it's probably double digits how many guys are coming out there. Yeah. I'm excited to see Joe Witt in the future when he can get a couple of guys, but the ability to be like, okay, shoot, this isn't working, let's try something else. Yeah. You have to tip your cap because it's so easy to be stubborn and they're able to change it up and make something happen.
Man, you know, you mentioned that's so wise though, right? Like, hey, Mike can handle, you know, the vertical part of it. Let's drop somebody underneath. And then you take Lattimore and switch him over to the rookie. And now you think that matchup is going to be something that works out well. The only thing that you could say is like, damn it, I wish we would have done it earlier, but the script writers set it up for a beautiful ending.
Yeah. And you're right though. You got to give a guy a chance, though. Marshawn Lattimore has done it before. Yeah. You know, Joe Witt's like, yeah, he's proven it. Let's give him a half. You know, even if it is a little bumpy along the way, let's see what happens because we can make the adjustments. But you're right. I mean, obviously, hindsight's 2020. You want to make that switch a little bit earlier, but it is what it is.
I will still say this. Next week, you still line him up on your top dog. The only difference, though, I mean, go ahead.
You said it. I said this is what you bring Lattimore in. I brought up Amon-Ra St. Brown. You said maybe Jamison Williams.
Yeah, put him on the line and let him be physical. You out physical speed, right? That's what you do. Now, here's the thing. Ben Johnson, and we're going to talk about a little bit about Detroit. Ben Johnson is very creative with the play calls. He is very creative with the play calls. So he's going to find a way to get Jamison Williams to work with, not having to deal with some press coverage. So you're not going to always see, that going on. But yeah, I do think you could throw Lattimore over there and really try to, take away the explosive nature of that Detroit Lions offense, because that's really what seems to be what breaks people's back. I mean, the running game was something because you had Gibbs and Montgomery, and Montgomery is out.
But they said he might come back. He might be back. But But you're right. It seems like every time they kind of get stalled watching Detroit, it's that deep bomb to Jamison Williams that is the game changer.
He's able to just really affect the game vertically. He's going to affect the game horizontally. The fact that you can hit him on the shallow, and he can turn the corner and look like he's running a 200-meter dash. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to pay attention to. But man, look, I don't want to keep y'all any longer. It's getting late. It's tomorrow on the East Coast, right? It's tomorrow on the East Coast. I'm tired. I got my book back here that says, "Then Gibbs said to Riggins, the best Washington Redskins stories ever told." Maybe we'll have a little story time on one of the next episodes of Bleav in Commanders. But y'all enjoy this one. 23-20. Walk-off-doink. Zane Gonzalez hits it off a pipe and then puts it through the pipes. Commanders are headed to Detroit, baby. Divisional round playoffs. It's exciting times to be wearing the burgundy and gold, to be cheering for the burgundy and gold. For Brian Murphy, I'm Anthony Armstrong, the original 1-3. Y'all take it easy. Be safe. Peace out. Hail the Commanders.